Left, right, not knowing where to go, not knowing how to live, walking alone without a hope in life. Jesus, He came into my life, showing me how to live, praising the Lord. It was a heart to heart with my Lord. That's what it is. He's filling my heart with love, joy, peace, and happiness. It was a heart to heart with my Lord. That's what it is. He's filling my heart with love, joy, peace, and happiness.
Hello and welcome to our series of family life-oriented programs called Heart to Heart, brought to you by Advent Hope Media. This is a series where we explore topics related to family life, and we'd love to get your input. So at the end of the program, please feel free to put in your comments, your contributions, where you agree with us, disagree. We'd love to hear from you. And today, we have a particularly hot program, hot topic, exciting subject to discuss, cohabitation. Wow. Now, before I get into that, I have with me a set of panelists who are present here with me, and I'd like them to introduce themselves to me, starting with you, madam, on my right, on my immediate right.
Thank you. My name is Tsungai Makota.
Welcome, Madam Makota. Welcome. And next to Mrs. Makota.
My name is Isaac Mafume.
Lovely. Welcome, Mr. Mafume. I'll probably be calling you by your first name, surnames. It probably doesn't matter. Yes, and to my far right.
My name is Shaw Manyema.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your precious time and the inputs that you're going to give us today. Let's get straight into the thing. Cohabitation. What is it? How do we define this creature, cohabitation?
Okay, so when it comes to cohabitation, I got a dictionary definition, and it states that it is the state of living together and having a sexual relationship without being married.
Okay, so a few things seem to be involved in there. Living together, having a relationship where you're having the muchi-guchi, and it also speaks to the element of not being married.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, of course, you can live together as brother and sister, and that's not cohabiting.
Or dorm mates in college or in high school. Okay. Okay, so that's what cohabitation is. I think they use the term as well, living in, shacking up, sharing the keys to the apartment. These are some of the expressions that we have. And that's fat and set. That's another one that comes to mind immediately, yes. So we're happy with cohabitation. Anybody want to throw in on the definition there?
Yes, I would want to say when you look at cohabitation, you would think it's just a continuous stay together.
Okay.
You find it can be periodic. Some just stay together for a week. Some stay together for a month.
Slow down. Well, no, isn't that a sleepover, Nyana? Isn't that just, coming in to visit?
Yeah.
Would you define that? Would you say I'm cohabiting if I'm just paying a courtesy call and, allowing the sun to set on me? If I'm just doing it over 2-3 days, is that cohabitation as well?
There is some level of permanence or continuous, but I'm saying it may not be like you are just living together for a period of time, then you separate when you. So it can actually be in phases where I just stay at your house maybe three weeks in a month.
Okay. I think just to carry that thought, so when we talk cohabitation from a legal point of view, so it's anything other than a marriage relationship governed by law.
Okay.
So in South Africa, it's not a marriage under the customary union.
So maybe tell me a bit more about that, because you've now brought in the element of marriage.
Yeah.
What is the difference between cohabitation and marriage?
Yeah. So as I was saying, in South Africa, you marry either under the customary union route, the civil union route, which covers sort of same-sex people, or civil marriage. So it's one of those three. So if you have an arrangement where you're living in with a person, enjoying sexual rights and whatever else you're doing as if you are married,
Right.
but you are not actually recognized under those three categories.
So it
You're
had
not-
to be under one of those three to become marriage. If it's
under
not,
those
it's
three,
something else.
marriage customarily,
Uh-huh.
according to our customs, you
Yeah.
are married. Civil union, you are married. Civil marriage, you are married. If it's any other arrangement outside of that, that is broadly what we're talking as cohabitation.
So you're saying the rest of us must go check the paperwork in our houses, and if we don't have any of those three
there
papers,
we go.
we are cohabiting?
There we go.
Precisely, and I like the way he insists on meeting the standards because I was reading a certain research paper which indicated that most people, some people who are married customarily, actually think that they have a marriage that is recognized by the law, but they have not met the requirements
Yes.
of the law, and so also those they
Yes.
fall under the category of cohabitation. So they're cohabiting.
No. Hold on.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe
but so
becoming-
in that
yes.
case, if we say that if I marry, I just go to the parents, I pay my lobola. I can't honestly be said to be cohabiting when there is consent from both families to give me a wife, and I stay with a wife. Can we say I'm cohabiting in that case?
That was
Yeah,
my
so-
very question.
Yeah,
yes.
so there's a thin line there. So legally, you go through the customary processes, which is what you've explained. But I think the other requirement at law is once you've gone through those processes, within a set period of time, you need to go and register that marriage. So it doesn't matter that you went through the customary processes. If you did not eventually register that marriage, according to the laws of the land, you are not married.
You are actually cohabiting. So that is also
It's
cohabiting.
taken a broader perspective
Unfortunately,
than I thought it would, yeah. Would you see any other differences between marriage and cohabitation that you may want to highlight?
Yeah, so I think the main differences really come from the recognition that the law has on particular unions and arrangements. So if we look at marriage, it comes with certain rights and obligations. One of them is the right or the obligation to support one another. In a cohabiting relationship, I could be driving the latest Ferrari, and the other partner is using a taxi. I don't need. There's no obligation for me
not
to
your
support
concern,
it.
yeah.
It's not my. And because when you talk marriage, then there are other legal statutes that sort of follow marriage. Things like your will when you die. If I die without a will, my cohabiting partner has no right to inherit from my estate because that arrangement is not recognized. So there are many, maintenance, of a surviving spouse. If I die, she has no right to claim maintenance on my estate because that relationship again is not governed at law. South African banks also normally do not, some of them don't allow joint accounts for cohabitants. So it means you can't really do things together, which in itself is a problem. But I mean, having said that, they are also, it's not open-ended in terms of not being protected by law.
It's also going to come to something like that.
Yeah.
See, I thought that there was a provision in the law somewhere, certainly with insurance sector, correct me if I'm wrong, where if you've lived with somebody for such a period of time, they are regarded as your spouse, partner,
No.
husband, wife. Am I correct?
Unfortunately not, except if you go and register a partnership. So you are cohabiting, you don't want to get married to this person, but you want a partnership to be recognized. Then you go and register a partnership. However, they will not recognize that you've been staying together for a long time. However, you can insure your partner or
register them as a
or
beneficiary
register them
on a
as
policy.
a beneficiary on
Okay.
a policy or retirement
Without
fund.
necessarily
Without
being
necessarily-
formally married.
Correct.
Yes.
So these are some of the difference. Because I'd always gotten the impression when the young people call on the phone to say they're selling insurance, that if they ask you know, do you have a wife? Do you want to ensure? They never go into the details. Have you registered a partnership agreement? Have you gotten an insurance thing for this and this? And they just say, yes, what's her name, what's her date of birth, and it's sorted. And I expect they'll look after her when I'm gone, right?
Yes, if you have included them as a beneficiary. But
Okay.
I also wanted to bring in the children. You see,
Yeah.
the children born also,
Okay.
even when you are cohabiting, they have legal rights.
Yeah.
So you're saying the person I'm living with has no legal rights, but the offspring from that marriage have legal rights.
Yes.
Correct.
However, the problem is that sometimes you may be required to prove that these children actually belong to this man or to this woman because they
To this
see-
woman shouldn't be too much of a problem.
of
They
course.
say a child is a mother's baby and a father's maybe.
In the world,
Oh, it's a different story. It's a different story.
yes.
Yes.
So just to say, of course, you have to prove if you
Yeah.
are not in a married setting, you have to prove that this child belongs to this man, and DNA tests may have to be, you know, conducted. That's the disadvantage. You're now putting the whole family in trauma because, of that.
But I think having said that, we must also point out that, you know, the Domestic Violence Act does not discriminate against married or unmarried people. So if there are issues and there's violence in the relationship, the Act, you know, does treat everyone.
Is that not double standards on the part of the law? Or they don't want to protect when it comes to, you know, the rights and obligations of marriage because people have not chosen to be in that state, and yet they come in and interfere when there is GBV involved. But that's probably another topic for another day.
Yeah.
Maybe on this program, Heart to Heart, it's a very pertinent one. But I just wanted to ask, having looked at what you know, cohabitation is, especially versus marriage, I wanted to find out why cohabitation. It's an option between the two, right?
Yeah.
Why does cohabitation take place? Maybe why?
Maybe I would start and say,
By all means, by all
yes,
means,
yes. Cohabitation is not really. Sometimes we think of it as a very serious thing. Sometimes it doesn't happen as a serious thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a matter of I have a partner, I take my bag, I go there over the weekend.
You might not even start with taking your whole bag.
Yeah. It's just the weekend bag
days.
or whatever. Then I go there, I sleep over. Monday or Sunday, I go back to my place. Then you realize
Realize
another
my
Monday
toothbrush
we
is,
are
still that
another
side
Monday
when
I'm
you go
still
back.
there, and you end up saying, but why don't you just stay here? Yeah, and it happens like that. So sometimes it's not really a serious decision when it comes to cohabiting. It can happen naturally. Two people who love one another, and they end up staying with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's and sometimes it's. I mean, I could say there are push and pull factors when it comes to cohabiting.
Tell us a bit about
There
that.
are
about
things
those.
that might push you to cohabit,
Okay.
like financial distress.
Okay.
Yeah, you are staying here in a metro. I mean, you rarely speak with your neighbor.
Yeah.
You rarely know anyone else except maybe the person you are in love with. And if you fall through tough times, and this person has a place to stay, you might end up just going there to stay with them. So there are push factors, and probably there are pull
Well, what
factors.
pull factors might be there? The love element you're saying you keep wanting to see
You love
the
your
other
person. You
want to be with
enjoy
them.
company. You
Okay.
enjoy being together, and that enjoyment continues for forever and ever.
Sometimes it can actually be planned, right? For older folk, you may be divorced or you may be widowed, and you've accumulated your wealth, and you've got family expectation and so on, and you're thinking, but why must I get myself into a legal obligation with this person?
Yeah.
So that if they get into debt, we'll have shared debt. So you find yourself thinking, you know, I love this person, they love me, but so why can't we just stay together and in the meantime protect each other from each other? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. Protect each other from each other. Yes.
And also, I mean, coming back to sort of economic issues that may push you into cohabitation. Sometimes, if I want to marry customarily,
Yeah.
the lobola is just so high. I can't afford it, but we're in love. So this becomes an option, you know.
That's a very interesting
We'll catch
one,
up
yeah.
with the parents when we catch up with
When
them.
we catch up, when the
But
money
for
is
now-
ready, we'll
For
sort it
now,
out.
we love. So that actually pushes.
Love conquers everything.
I don't
There
know.
we go.
You know, I just really, before we go places with that thought, I've often heard people talk about it, but I always wondered, did they get a quotation before they make that decision? Or they just assume?
Maybe they've got a rough indication. Is that
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
it is?
you know other people
Because
that
young
have
men
married
know
in the
these
family.
things, yeah.
So,
Yes.
so you know roughly where
Or they
things-
know where this young lady is coming from in terms of her place of origin, and they know, hi, Babu, Deben, or this
Exactly.
particular place. Yeah, you got to be strong pocket-wise to be there.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, people are cohabiting because of fear of long-term commitment. I mean, you know, you get married, that's a long-term commitment. And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, am I ready for that long-term commitment? And then people end up in these sort of arrangements. Careers,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
you know, we want to pursue our careers without the...
What are you saying, that a young lady will cohabit with somebody at work who has the potential to make a career move forward? Is that what you're talking about?
No, for their own, you know, they're focusing on their career development. It's not, they are not yet ready to get married. Because sometimes when you're married, you know, the employers say, we've promoted you, move into the office in London, and their hubby says, no, we're here, we're staying here. So what we also see in society now is people are focusing on their careers now.
Yes,
Marriage
true,
is no longer
true.
an achievement. You know, I want to grow up so that I can get married. It's not an achievement anymore.
Yeah.
You know, people can focus on their careers for longer, and in the interim, while they focus on their careers, they continue being sexually active by cohabiting.
Yeah.
And marriage becomes an
I
option.
just wanted to say right there that maybe it's not the thought is
She wants
when-
to disagree with you, but she wants to be very nice.
I can see that. I can see that.
Actually, I didn't want to disagree. I wanted to come in with another point to say, when you said it's about a career, I thought you meant that this lady or gentleman will think, when I cohabit with this, that's their career, you know, and they can call home and say, you know
Oh,
what?
excuse
Mom,
me.
I'm employed in
Excuse
Joburg. I found something. Meanwhile, it's the cohabitation and the boyfriend or girlfriend is the financer.
Yes.
So
It-
that's
yeah.
a
Every
career
month there's a salary
development
coming
Yes.
out of
Haven't
this
you
thing.
heard these things?
Yeah, it happens.
And
It happens.
while we may laugh about it, these things actually do happen,
Yeah,
right?
and also on the career, like people now, long back people used to marry early.
Yeah.
But now people are no
right.
longer marrying early. So you want to finish your first degree, you want to do your master's, you want to do your PhD.
But like
and
you're saying, nature is calling.
nature's
the
calling.
hormones are
Yeah.
talking.
So
Yeah,
what
the
makes you
needs
to
are there.
what makes you to cohabit is you want the flesh needs to be pleased.
Correct.
Yeah, but you still want you
Career
still have
also
goals.
needs to be
You have
fulfilled.
goals where you say, I will settle
Okay.
at such and such an age. So people don't want to settle early; they want to settle later in life.
Fair enough. No, yes, you want to throw in something
I just
before.
wanted to
Yeah.
ask the
Yeah.
question. So is that not settling? Because now, cohabiting, you will notice that it's like a long-term thing. It's just
That's
a
an
question.
interesting one. I thought one of you earlier on said that
It can be short term.
it
It doesn't.
not a long-term thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It can be long term, short term. The underlying principle is, as long as it's not a relationship governed, you know, from a legal point of view, governed by the customary, you know, marriage
Those three
union,
elements, yeah.
civil union, or civil marriage.
marriage.
It's still cohabitation.
Yeah.
You can cohabit for 60 years, 70 years. It doesn't matter.
Or for 2 months, or for 3 months, you can cohabit and you leave.
Or for
So it's
3
a matter
months
of
at a
taking your
time.
bag
Yeah.
and you go. If things don't work, you take your bag and you
can
go.
be on a
You don't have
long-term test
commitment.
drive.
Yeah, you don't have a commitment.
So the key element is there is no commitment. Now let me ask
A
a
long-term
question,
one, yeah.
a long-term one at least. Let me ask a question and say, are there advantages, if you can call them that, or benefits? Maybe let me be kinder, to the practice of cohabitation? It's up
Yes,
for
there
grabs.
are. Yeah, people see a lot of a number of benefits
Okay.
in cohabiting. I think the one we're talking about here is no strings attached.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, yes, I have got an emotional wound, but I will leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no this thing of going to the lawyers.
Okay.
there's no this thing of involving family and all those things.
They were
right?
not involved in the first place.
They were not
Yeah.
involved in
So
the
why
first
should they be
place.
involved now?
So when we separate, I can move on, and I can tell the next person I was not married. You know, sometimes when you are coming from a marriage, there's a stigma attached to it. But a cohabiting, you don't have a stigma.
Even
Because-
though the factors may be the very same factors.
Yeah, yeah.
the way
So
in
someone
a
will just ask you-
divorce,
yeah.
you left, but and
Yeah.
cohabitation, you left, but
So-
nobody bothers you.
Nobody
if it's-
bothers.
if
So
you're
they
not
will just
formally
say,
married.
"Are you married? Or were you married?" No, I was not married.
Oh, okay.
So you can
Never
move
been
on
married.
easily after cohabiting
Interesting.
than after
There's
marriage.
another advantage, okay.
Yeah. So there are quite a number of.
I wouldn't want to call them advantages. I mean, let's just really be
Semantics.
careful around the word advantage,
Yeah.
because I can begin even to feel as you're speaking, you know, I'm itching to say, but really.
What we're
That's
really
an
saying,
advantage.
what we're saying is,
that is
people,
the traditional view.
people are
Yeah.
getting into it. Surely they must be seeing something
They're
positive,
benefits. No,
something good. Otherwise, they would not be doing it.
No, they
So it's an
clear-
advantage,
they
is it
clearly-
not?
They clearly are benefits. I think for us to sit here and just think people are doing it, you know, there are no benefits to it. I
So
think-
you
I think
just
it would be a
so
lie.
panelists, you are these two here, especially who are throwing words at me. You prefer the word benefits rather than advantages.
I'm not worried which term you use.
No,
I'm just saying
fair enough.
people that get into this sort of relationship
Absolutely.
have reasons for doing it.
Otherwise,
and
they would not
benefits
be
that they get out
continuing
of it.
to
Yes.
perpetuate the
For
practice.
instance, just the financial benefit of sharing costs.
Absolutely.
You know, you
There's
live together,
one, there's one,
you
yeah.
share the costs, there's no commitment, there's
Okay,
no
just
social
mention
trauma
it.
if we decide that this is not working. You know, you
It
just
never
pack your
existed
bags
on formally, like you said.
Exactly.
So if it disappears, it's
so
okay.
there definitely are benefits that people are getting out of this.
I'm just saying that benefits is a strong word for me for.
Wait a
something
minute.
that
We
may-
threw away disadvantages. Now you also don't like benefits.
Oh, call me
Somebody bring me a
traditionally-
dictionary and give me another word that you
Maybe
might be
let's
happy
call
with.
them. Maybe let's call them reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, reasons why. Okay,
would like to
I
go
would say another reason is the issue of testing. How many marriages
Fine.
have flopped?
Let's see if the semantics partly.
Yes.
Let's carry on
Yes.
with this.
How many marriages have flopped?
Yeah.
Billionaires. We've seen billionaires divorcing. We've seen even poor people divorcing. Everywhere the divorce rate is very high.
It's
So,
increasing.
and you don't want to get into. Okay, people now don't want to get into
Untested
a
waters.
marriage. Yeah, because you see, the nature of marriage is you see this person, you discover things later. So people prefer to discover things now.
Earlier.
If it doesn't work
Before
now,
they commit.
yes, why should I tie myself for life?
Fine, we'll live with this issue of reasons. But yeah, carry on. You were talking about marriages and how they're breaking down, and yeah.
I want.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Can we just pause there? Can we just?
I hope it's not about advantages and disadvantages.
It's definitely about that.
It's words for crying out
Let's
loud.
not use the word reasons to justify this thing. To be honest, if you look at it morally, it's not acceptable to cohabit. And call me traditionalist, but
Okay.
think about it. The law does not even recognize cohabitation. You are not protected by the law.
True, true.
If you die, no advantages to you or to your children. Your partner is left exposed. I'm just saying.
I'm not
guys,
arguing with all that. I'm just saying.
yeah.
Let's
Yes.
backtrack there.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack there. I don't know what word you can use, but to say reason.
Yes, I
That's
think
sufficient.
yes, I think we get into a dilemma because these are two consenting adults. So for us to assume that two consenting adults they come together without
A cause.
without a cause, I think it won't really make sense.
Is that a better word
we
for you,
need-
madam? Do you like cause?
Perhaps cause, because now
For crying out loud, cause. But this time we are saying there's a cause that, he spoke of push and pull factors, right? There must be a push and a pull. There's a cause which is a pull, an advantage. Okay, I must be careful. A benefit.
Please,
That's what I'm
please
talking
allow
about.
me, indulge me before you speak, Mr. Manyema, to say
Words.
it's not a word. Indulge me and allow me to say that
Okay.
to a consenting adult
Okay.
will indulge in drugs.
Correct.
Does that become okay? Will that be a benefit? This is just an
Yeah.
example.
Mr.
So we
Manyema, I'm
cannot
tempted to
call
come
it
in, but I'll
Yeah.
hold myself.
Yeah. So I think our challenge could really be a challenge of worldviews. We are looking at this issue from a moralistic perspective of what we believe and what we know. And I don't think that's the best way for us to understand the experiences of other people. So I'm saying from the perspective of two people that are deciding to cohabit. They have reasons why they are doing it. They see clear advantages for why they are doing it. Am I agreeing with the advantages? Not necessarily. I may not from what I believe, but it's not fair for me not to acknowledge those reasons because they are valid reasons that are coming out of their experiences.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important for us to acknowledge and note them and understand them before we put value judgments based on
And
what
for
we
me,
believe.
before we even look at value judgments, because I think this can only be done after we have thoroughly thrashed the issue. For me, if I'll take a slightly different topic, which is for another day, but to put things into context, if young people are engaging in premarital sex, which is very linked to this one, surely there must be an advantage. There must be something sweet, something nice, something exciting. Is it a good sort of thing for them to be doing?
No.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it is advantageous to them. Is
Yes,
it not
I
what
would
we're
say
saying?
also,
Yeah.
So in this case, I mean, as we are talking now, there are different truths that are fighting. There's a truth from the perspective of the person who is cohabiting. Surely,
Yeah.
they should be seeing their truth is
Yes.
telling them that there are advantages in what they are doing, and want to explore
Absolutely.
those. Want to
And I don't
explore
even think
those.
it's even from them, even from me as an
Gentlemen.
onlooker. But
Gentlemen.
guys, our time seems to have done what time
Gentlemen.
normally does to a
One
discussion
thing
like this.
before you
But I
close
didn't
down.
want us to end on that particular note. You have one quick thing to say, and then we wrap this thing up. And quick is quick. Go for it.
I just wanted to say that whilst I acknowledge that people will have
Causes.
a reason or
Okay.
causes maybe
Yeah.
to be together, and I'm not dismissing them. I'm just
Thank you.
saying, are they valid? Is it okay? Because
Maybe let's
as
explore that
parents,
next week.
we are not happy with certain
That's
things
fair enough.
happen. Then
Yeah.
the legal society gets
Okay.
all.
So that's
You know,
her point
with
there.
that-
She says people are doing it, but we are unhappy.
Yeah.
Your last point, very quick.
Yes,
very
I
fast,
would
very
say
quick. Yeah.
people who are doing it have got a certain perception of the truth.
Okay, so
but
our
is it the
worldviews
whole
are
truth?
different, and you think
Is it the
in this
whole
program we
truth
want to
is the
share another
question?
dimension?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just think we must acknowledge the experiences of other people before we superimpose our own beliefs and our
Judgment.
thoughts.
Okay.
So let's explore what other people go through in
And
this issue.
thank you so much for that. Time's running out, and I'm being told that we're really out. And I find it fascinating. Next time that we meet, I'd like us to explore, madam, you may not like this, are there disadvantages to cohabiting? Let's meet again. Meanwhile, your comments, your suggestions, your thoughts are more than welcome on this program. Write them down at the bottom of this, and we look forward to seeing you again on Heart to Heart with your host, Benson.
It was a heart to heart with my Lord. That's what it is. He's filling my heart with love, joy, peace, and happiness. A big heart that is filled with joy. A heart that loves everyone. A peace that flows to everyone. A heart that loves us all the same.